Yeah. Yep. Howdy, cadre. Um. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Disclaimers. Apologies. If I lured you in with the title, the I apologize. It's I just it's clickbait. I thought I'd troll some Q followers. Um, I don't want to get into it really. I do have concerns about the deep state. Oh, that was the end of my pick. Okay, but this video is about Deep Slate. I thought it'd be funny, just amusing myself. I'm really doing nothing else here on the YouTubes. I've never monetized, so I'm certainly not making money. I'm not gaining followers, so I'm certainly not building clout or whatever. But where'd I come from? There we go. The bricks. Whoops. Hey, look out. Oh, I did want to say while I was here mining Deep Slate. Oh, yeah, the QAnon thing. That part of my thought after January 6th, um, the tourism or the forced tourism of the capital, forced violent tourism of the capital, planned, prepared. Anyways, one of my thoughts after January 6th is that there's an aspect of the QAnon theories, or there's a way of looking at the situation that confirms their theory, and it's a stupid auto confirm, but what I'm trying to say is that there was an organized resistance to the Don that came from within the government, but it was a response to his choices, policies, actions, and words. And words are actions, don't get me wrong. Policy changes are actions. Anyways, I could have just said actions, is my point. But so there's an how I don't know. There's an aspect that's true, but it's not a conspiratorial. What I'm talking about is not a conspiratorial backroom, long-standing, controlling secret group or whatever. From my perspective, it's like white blood cells, which there's a variety of blood cells that we just call white blood cells that do slightly different things, but some of them attack. Anyways, that I don't want to get into biology. Jeez, I'll never get into this. Oh, what I wanted to point out here is this deep slate. Mining it is kind of tricky because this pattern is so complex and high contrast, like the detail. And also, they did a good job of not making it too patterned. And I think part of the way they did that is, these like orient differently naturally. I don't. There's. It's interesting because it's such a simple thing. Um. Anyways, I didn't want to get into Deep Slate yet. I was trying to apologize for Deepstate. Um. Anyways, it really is visually confusing at times when you're mining, because if you're running around, moving, knocking out blocks, uh, what you're looking at changes, and these holes in the ground are sometimes hard. Like you can see here, we've got more deep slate behind, um, and so sometimes it's hard to tell. And even if you have stone behind, the stone matches part. I mean that gray, that shade of gray, is in here too, or those shades of gray are kind of the ones in here. Um, I guess the deep slate adds these darker veins. Anyways, so yeah, mining it's a subtle thing, but I think the risk of falling, oops, like that, demonstration, accidental. Wait, oh, I'm deep, aren't I? I gotta find the bottom of my stairs. There they are. Um, deep state though. So that actually was, um, I was really happy of the resistance to Trump's intentions, bad intentions. What? Oh, okay. Um, it's night. So yeah, and I mentioned white blood cells because that's such a stupid term. Um, no, the term white is stupid for our race. That's what's triggering me. That word. White blood cells, white knights, white crusaders, all that stuff in my mind ties together, and it's part of. I mean, you talk about systemic racism, the words we choose. What could be more a part of the system than the language we always use? And the language that we've used for African Americans has definitely shifted over time. And the global makeup of, regional and skin tone, anyways, patterns. Anyway, so my point is that there is a part. There were several people who got concerned enough about the direction the last administration were taking that they did things to prepare. There were times when military leaders said no at important points, or um, political leaders worked to prepare oops contingencies and stuff. And I'm not just talking about political activism, uh, lawsuits. Certainly, that was a age-old tactic of the Don, even before he was our president. I don't want to. Well, I can go down in here. anyway, so there was an aspect that was really heartwarming that elements of the government activated and prepared, and they did their job to fight back against. Of course, there's the whole alternate narrative, but I think it's losing. I think we just passed another QAnon date where they said he'd be reinstated. They keep kicking it to the curb. It's stuff I understand well from studying cults, doomsday cults and stuff. But believers will believe, true believers, the zealots, will believe things even after it's been proven misguided or whatever. So, okay, cobbled. I don't have any regular deep slate here. And I'm really confused because I thought I placed all cobbled deep slate on the bottom. No, on the top. No, on the. I don't know. There's. Shoot, I have some of that back. Wow, those tentacles are weird. They can clip through the corner of the building there. Well, I'm not going to get into that now. Deep slate is kind of strange. It's basically a new version of cobblestone that is down at the core of the more, deeper in the world. I don't know if core is the right term. Am I done with deep state? Jeez. Anyways, an immune system type thing within the government is a form of positive deep state. I guess that's my main point. It's deep because it's not apparent. Like the Don was operating on such a brute force, strong-willed, single-minded, top-down, I'm the decider sort of way, and the aspect of the resistance that was deep state was just that they were operating as individuals and using networks. Whoa, tentacles. Anyways, but I see it as a form of, like I said, an immune system response that our country had a problem, a serious growing problem, looming problem, much like a disease, viral or bacterial. Bacterial is probably the better comparison, but the word viral has a whole lot new meanings now. I can cook one of these. That's right. Anyways, yeah, deep slate. So, okay, deep state. So, okay, this is cobbled, and I'm put it in the upper right, and this is deep slate. I'm gonna put it in the upper right. Okay, those do look different. So regular deep slate is what you find in the ground. But when you pick it up, it turns to cobbled deep slate. Okay, so it gets more dark lines when you break it up. And so I thought I was being consistent up here, but I really don't think I was. Part of it was I was working underwater, so I may have been confusing which stacks I was placing. I was swimming around with both stacks of both types. But this lighter stuff then is like the naturally compressed, and then the darker stuff is the cobbled that I've broken up, and that parallels stone and cobblestone pretty well, where cobblestone stone has these smooth compressions and more horizontal, and then once you break it up, it cobbles like this. Oh, I don't even have iron, so I can't pick these back up. That's problematic. Yeah, maybe this video won't be as well. I just can't pick stuff up. I hear a zombie somewhere. Drowned. Anyway, so then this stuff can be machined into bricks and, or sorry, I said that in the wrong order. Blocks and bricks. And then it can also be finished into polished. And this may not seem that exciting to people. I mean, in a way, it's not much of a mechanical change at all in the game. It functions much like regular stone and cobblestone. And there's more variation like between sandstone and cobblestone than there even is between this new deep slate and cobblestone. But I really like what? Oh, I need the cutter. So you can polish by putting 4 in a crafting table, which seems cheap to me, because you're getting 1-to-1, and there's no input. Like, you're not cooking it. You're not using more than comes out. Oh, I wanted to do enough to build a wall, which is this. Yes. Go Druid. Why didn't that one smooth? Oh, I can't pick those back up again. Why didn't that middle one smooth? I'm confused. The top smoothed. Is it because there's a block back here? I don't know. Anyways, oh, I can use. Yeah, that's probably a good plan. Yeah, deep slate can also be used as just like cobblestone in most crafting recipes. So, so yeah, if I break this, yeah, it smoothed it out. And if I put something back, Okay, so that's interesting. I didn't know it did that. I guess I assumed it smoothed one side. So that's interesting because you behind a wall you could vary it by just putting a block behind it. So there's this little jut out every so often. Anyways, so yeah, I'm so bad with train of thought when I do this stuff, but that's how you can tell it's unscripted. How about that? Yeah, that's good. Genuine, 100. Keep it. Anyways, this may not seem exciting. That was my point to some people. That these, hey, more gray blocks. We've had gray blocks for a long time, but these are darker than most traditional building blocks we've had. And dark blocks are nice for building with. I mean, it's it's not like black darkening things is expensive or difficult in this world. You could just use ash or soot or charcoal. There's I guess it's all kind of the same thing. Anyways, yeah, and I think these well lit look pretty nice. But they also carry the shadow. Now, I wouldn't want a whole lot of this around the world. Because it is darker. It just shifts things. And they are shifting things with the creature spawning and stuff. It looks like light levels. Anyways, but this, for the aesthetics of building, this is a pretty huge addition because, I mean, you can just see here, didn't have to cook any of this or use stone cutters or anything. And we've got like 6 different variety, and these 5 I think can be all turned into stairs. Let's see, tile stairs, brick stairs, polished stairs, cobbled stairs. Right, so that's 4 of them. And you can make polished slabs, cobbled slabs, or deep slate tile. So there's no... That's interesting. There's brick slabs. Okay. So there's 4 new variety. Yeah, I guess basically it's these 4 here. That are kind of fundamental building blocks, but the fact that those 4 can be turned into stairs, slabs, walls, it just provides a whole lot more options for building. And a big fortress all made out of this would be pretty brutalist looking. I mean, very dark medieval. But I think these also will be really useful as like accent blocks or as extra things that can be mixed in. I mean, there's an aspect, traditionally houses have been built with a more cobbled foundation with bricks on top. So that provides a a differentiation between kind of foundation and the volume of the house. Anyways, so what do I want to do with this? So obviously the cobbled looks the most natural to me. And just that, I think, makes a great stone wall. Possibly even better. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, to my mind, this is a strange, very modern wall. It's obviously dark bricks. I mean, it seems to be dark bricks. They did a really good job of making this look not too regular. So it doesn't look like bricks to me, but it looks like carefully chosen stone, sized and arranged with care. You know, like some really good ancient artisanal masonry work. This looks more like a typical stone wall, like you might see, you know, in the English countryside or something. More of a cobbled stone wall, stacked various sizes, and it's interesting how it seems to like kind of progress upwards slightly. Almost reminds me of like snake scales or something, but yeah. This isn't what I was planning, but that's fine. Let's get a bunch of these and see. I want to see a long length of it. But I want it to be smooth. I don't want to deal with the because when it grabs it, yeah, it keeps the middle because of the blocks next to it. So you really do need to have it like a wall, not like a fascia. I mean, like a freestanding wall, not fascia. Well, let's do a little test here. This isn't very far, but at least it should look pretty cool, and kind of looks like a bit of a ruined castle or something. But yeah, as I thought, that's really nice. I might have to build with these walls. It's interesting. I really don't. I normally just build with blocks. But this is such a nice texture. Interesting. I like the way it seems very much like scales to me. It reminds me of a reptilian scale pattern, almost dragon-like. Might actually be a better reference, because what are there reptiles? Am I failing to think properly? Are there any reptiles? There's turtles. I don't think turtles are truly reptiles, but they're, a related branch or whatever. But yeah, that's a nice looking kind of scale pattern. I mean, obviously it's a cobbled stone pattern is the intent, but they did a really good job of just in this small pixelated area of creating a pattern that kind of ignores the orthogonality of the block system in Minecraft. I mean, that's one of the issues, and why some people. Oh, that's right, you can't jump over the walls. Why some people still they can't get past the aesthetics of the blockiness. Some people in this game, like they see trees like this, and they're like, "Yeah, it's such a childish tree or something." For me, it's just like a choice to pixelate, basically. I still see the contours of the horizon, or um, I still see the tree even for the forest, um, but yeah, this is what building a game for 20 years or whatever, it's probably 15, can accomplish. But I was starting to think of Magic the Gathering too, because they've made so many innovations in like card stock inking, um, luminescence studies on glues, and there's just like, it's not the focus of the game, but when you develop a game for so long, you focus on the aspects of the game. Product market, product packaging, innovation. There's so much. Anyways, and this is a good example that yes, some genius could have made this pattern a long time ago, but this game drove it, and the people who work for Mojang, that's part of their process and system. Is do I have the? Yeah, I do. Cool. That'll be neat. Um, One of the positives with corporations is you gather people um, with a focus, and wow, that flew really far. Yeah, it helps get stuff like this. I mean, like another example is some people hate NASA now, but there's so many things that have come from NASA that's bettered our world. I don't know. In my mind, I compare that to military budget. The NASA budget is so small and has improved the world so much. Again, perspectives, but some perspectives are stupid or just wrong or both. Oh, I wanted to. Hey, no, let me. There we go. Okay. Wanted to see it from a different angle. Yeah, I really like that. Really like that pattern. I think I might have to try and build with walls. Well, that may change what I was about to do. Yeah, maybe I won't follow through with my plan. Maybe we'll cut the video soon. But yeah, this is just in my mind, such a nice aesthetic addition to Minecraft because this really breaks up the grid, the matrix. That's right. It was kind of a revelation when I realized that a matrix is just a three-dimensional grid. I mean, that's one of the meanings. I think there's obviously more general meanings, that it's like an underlying system. A matrix is that defines the rules and structure of a system. For the movie Matrix, it was a world, it was an interface, but it was still an underlying system that defined all of the physics. And anyways, so yeah, my point here is just that this really breaks up the edges pretty well. I mean, I think they've designed it with the pattern in mind, so you can kind of see like three big stones. It's so good though, because it almost seems biological, cellular, rather than, which again looks a lot more like an old stone wall rather than something mass produced. I mean, there is an aspect that, like, what's going on, and you can see the pattern repeating. So maybe it looks more like one of those fake molded brick things or whatever. But unless you stop to look for the pattern, I mean, the point is they've really overcome that quite well. Nice. Okay, I don't have many places to build walls here. I guess I could just tear down my crops up front here, and I'm not even using sugarcane for anything yet, so actually I should put ladders in here. But that wall will help keep me from falling down there. Anyway. Wow, that grass is still growing. Weird. Yeah, I'm digging the... Oh, it broke the... Oh, because... Yeah, okay. Yeah, that'll look nicer once the grass spreads, because this brighter line of soil throws me off a little bit. But yeah, it's a nice looking wall. Nice. Fish jumping. Oops, me jumping accidentally. Oh, my grass is spread down. Oh, that was part of my goal. Is yeah, if I even this out, because I have just even a little bit of glass above, even though there's some water up there, it's just one block of water. And anyways, so this strip here, I can spread the grass all across and farm this stuff like crazy. I should get bread started. I guess the fishes are pretty good. My fishes. Ah, my fishes. Deep, deep, deep. So, anyways, for my plans for... Oh, hey there. Yeah, that's kind of fun. And it wouldn't be as surprising if I had just made this all glass, which I guess is a pretty simple tendency. Anyways, I need to extend the cobbled deep slate, but I'm going to be turning this. Oh, I went too far. Well, I could build outside of that cube. That would make this room slightly bigger. Maybe that's the plan. I don't have much gravel with me, but so everything but the corners. But I may be doing the corners here. Oh, I wonder if I could leave those columns of water. That might be interesting. So I can build outside of this a wall. And maybe I'll use this actual wall. Maybe I'll try building with that. I've generally avoided it because it used to not interface with glass well. It wouldn't connect with a glass pane. And I've given up on glass panes, much like I've given up on glass walls, because the blocks, you only see the front outlines of the glass, so it really doesn't matter much. Just when looking through them, I mean, there is a difference of where in the block the surface is, because the panes are partial. Man, we're getting deep into the fenestration on this one. There's a good word that only architects generally use. It just means like windows, glass. Fenestration. I don't even know the etymology of that. To fenestrate. I don't know. It's a more modern word, obviously. Maybe a French source? Wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, so if I wrap this with walls, it'll look bumpy until I remove the inside, and then the lengths will smooth out. Actually, that might be cool in the corner. I didn't want to do the top one there, did I? Well, I may I'll probably bring this whole thing up to just one under like this glass is. So maybe that'll be fine. But what I'm thinking, dude, did I put my clippers away? No, I got them. Save the pixels! No point in just destroying this seaweed without picking it up. Alright, so. Oh, almost out of wall. Oh, almost out of air. Yep, okay. Yeah, I could eat kelp too. Once you cook it. Anyways, so yeah, if I wrap this with wall, it'll have these bumps until I remove the gravel behind it and open it up. Oh, yep. All right, eat the fishes, my fishes. Yes, my fishes. Sorry, different reference. Switched my fantasy reference there. Anyways, yeah, that's. I think that'll be cool. Be interesting, or exploring new territories. Maybe not the most exciting thing to some people, but I get excited by nuance sometimes. This part's gonna be weird, but maybe I can put glass panes out. It's still gonna be bumpier. It's gonna have these like reinforcing stripes running up the side, but this is gonna be a doorway anyway. Anyways, much to explore. So much building to explore. I won't bore you with all that, but with the cooperation of my editor, perhaps I can share some more once I've progressed a little bit. Deepstate, yeah. Oh, that's interesting. It auto grabs. Why wouldn't it auto grab cobblestone? Oh, I didn't mean to make those. Okay, well, I got some cheap picks now. Yeah, maybe I'll make this a more high contrast hallway. It might be interesting to use a mix of I'm blanking. It's not andesite. It's not diorite. Well, it's grease lightning. Wait, is it diorite? It's not andesite or granite. So yeah, okay, it is diorite. All right. All right. Like the polished stuff is one of the whitest blocks. Unless you get into, wool or anyways. But I'm thinking a mix of. Was this polished? That was polished, right? Yeah. I mixed a polished deepslate and polished diorite, I think. I mean, you can get darker blocks with obsidian, obviously, but that is a lot of effort, or as some people would phrase it, expense. Minecraft's interesting because a lot of stuff is not about cost as much as rarity or labor required. And that's partly why there's such a big difference between survival and creative, is that in creative, instead of just being limited to your inventory, you can create any block in the game. So, cheater mode, the polished deepslate. A block of iron. That's actually even better. But again, that gets more expensive. But I think, well, I'm confident that's design intent. Coal is new too. And that's pretty nice. It's got it's very dark, but it's got a softness to it. It makes me think of like suede or velvet or something. I think I like that even better than the way obsidian looks. I don't want to place obsidian. Oh, I'm in creative mode. I can destroy it. Yeah, that was black wool. Oh, that's right. There's so much more now. There's terracotta. There's concrete. Concrete powder. Okay, let me. No. Well, let's just be smart about this. Okay. Yeah, the blackstone's going to be good. Oh, there's gilded blackstone. I don't know if you can feather touch that or cracked polished bricks. Oh, you can't. I don't think you can craft that though. That's interesting. Concrete powder. Concrete. And terracotta. Heck, I'll grab the glazed while I'm at it. So concrete powder, concrete, terracotta. Yeah, they call that black, but it's really pretty far from black. Okay, now I'm not doing long-term cheating here. I'm just exploring options for a second. Yeah, the terracotta, the black terracotta it's nice that they added such a dark brown because there's not a whole lot of darkness. It is kind of strange that's called black terracotta when it's I mean, I think any reasonable person would call that brown, not black, and it is a dark brown, but it makes sense. It's just like packed clay is the idea, and then once you uh, cook it, you end up with the pattern stuff. Um, and of course, what's special about the obsidian is its properties. And I do enjoy. I like the purple. I think is my favorite color. And I've realized part of that now may be fundamental. That I'm interested in the liminal, like areas between distinct stuff, like the Venn diagram overlap or the marginal interest. Anyways, purple isn't. It's once I learned more about light, um, like back when I learned about the color wheel in high school art and stuff, I didn't really have the knowledge of scientific um, interpretation of light. But now I know that purple, like, it's almost not a real color. It kind of exists at both ends of the rainbow, both ends of the visible light spectrum. Wow, this is getting to some like fundamental Sadvipran uh, and WebDruid stuff. This is interesting. Purple is what your brain creates when there's an overlap of red and blue. And that may seem like a strange thing to say. A lot of us learned, in elementary school that red and blue make purple. Red and yellow make orange. Blue and yellow make green. And in the real world, with pigments, that's simple and true, and it's how we create the color wheel and connect it. But the difference I'm pointing out between purple and green and orange is that green and orange are actually different wavelengths of light. They're in the spectrum between the primary colors. And our fixation on primary colors was largely based on access to pigments and how they mixed. But purple is distinct from the other secondary colors because of this overlap of wavelengths. If you have light that's at both the low end of the visible spectrum and the high end of the visible spectrum, that's red and blue combining. And in our brain, I believe, not in our eyes or in the light, it's just both of those colors are present, and our brain combines them into purple, whereas orange or green can be actual light that's of wavelengths between the primary colors. Whew. But part of the reason that's interesting is, to me, on such a fundamental, almost spiritual level, is that I've long been obsessed by the political spectrum. I don't know if obsessed is the right word. Confused? Contemplative? I've long been in a debate with myself about the political spectrum, the left versus right thing we've created, and the authoritarian versus libertarian cross-axis that I added at one point, and how my dad said at one point that libertarians are so far right in some ways that it's like they're left, which that blew my mind, and I'm like, what? If you go far enough that way, you kind of end up over there. But then, I use the metaphor of the earth to realize that it's like if you walk far enough in that direction, and we live on a sphere, you're gonna come back to the same point, which means it's not truly a spectrum; it's a circle. And so there's an aspect of that where you can think of when we're so focused on left versus right in our political debate, it's another way that we ignore up versus down or distract from up versus down, is that wow, I just got an Ouroboros in my head. It could be a figure eight that could differentiate between two types of libertarians. I mean, true libertarians are anti-authoritarian in my mind, but one of my fears has always been that, like, any simplification can be a distraction. Like, if you just focus on size of government, how much power do you want the federal government to have? You can get so fixated on that aspect. Like, we just need to diminish the power of the government, or we need to amplify the power of the government. And a lot of people get that confused, or can be led in the wrong direction when they don't realize that it's not just size or power or control exerted by the government that matters, but what they're doing with it, how they use it, the checks and balances, and anyway, wow. So yeah, left versus right can be seen as a circle, and it's almost like we're fixated on the top of the circle, and there's just not enough people far enough left that it starts coming back to the bottom, and that's part of why there's a civil war, so to speak, quote unquote, just within the Democratic Party right now, because I think what's finally come to the surface, finally become clear to almost everybody involved, is that I think the biggest lie that Don ever told was that he was going to fight the deep state, or that he was going to beat it. Well, and maybe it's not that that's a lie, but he wanted to be the authoritarian figure, the king. He wanted to be king of America. And destroying the deep state can be seen as a way to manifest that you you want to get rid of any systems of resistance so that you're the king of the hill. Yeah, sorry for the ums. I'm trying to keep talking, but still think through these deep thoughts and maintain my train. Anyways, I think a fundamental schism that occurred between the Don and his supporters is that he wanted a controlling authoritarian figure, and I think his true personal desire was to be that. He wanted to be respected and in charge, and but I think some ways, like the wedge issues he used, and he was too heavy-handed, and there were a lot of people fooled for a long time, and there are still people fooled, and this is now an underground subculture that we still are going to have to continue to deal with. I think we're past the point of needing to worry about the Don regaining as much power as he had, but it's just a change in style, that he's now an actor at the edge of media and outside of government, but he's still going to have an influence. God, I wonder who Q is. I certainly don't think it's him. Or somebody working close with him. But anyways, so these are the options for really dark stuff, but concrete is hard to make. How do you make concrete? Well, I know you pour water on powder to turn it into actual concrete. But the powder, I think it's like a mix of gravel. I can't even look at my crafting book in here. Anyways, these look nice, but they're harder to get. Oh, these are the concretes. This is coal. And this is wool. So wool's tricky. It's pretty renewable because you can once you domesticate, once you capture some sheep, you can mass produce wool. It just takes some iron to shear them repeatedly. I guess you could kill them, but you get less wool. Anyways, that would then take feeding them to keep it going quick. Anyways, my point being that wool takes a little bit of work. You can't find it and collect it from the world. So you have to get sheep. You have to either dye the sheep, which is the smarter way, or dye the wool, which takes a lot more squid killing. There are aspects about Minecraft that's really weird. Almost seems homeopathic to me, that you think you can dilute. Like if you dye a sheep, it's like it reproduces its own dye or whatever. Anyways, so wool isn't like expensive, but it takes some labor. You have to combine sheep with squid basically to get it. It's not just easy to collect like the stones are. The coal is valuable. It's not super rare, and you can end up. Yeah, that's another thing they did, is they added these alternate ores, so you can find coal in regular stone or coal in Deepstate now, and even those could be built with, but they're they don't create great patterns in bulk. Anyway, so and really wood is more renewable than coal. Coal has to be mined, but if you switch to charcoal, you can just farm trees day and night. Recommended more a day. So, and yeah, what? Oh, I can't look at my book. I was going to break these down. Anyways, some of these are just hard to get because you need specific biomes or techniques to make them. And yeah, I got to remember to look at the powder. Obsidian is like it's the trifecta of rare, hard to gather, and valuable for like functional, utilitarian purposes. That like wool, there's only so much you can do with wool. It's not a great building material anyways because it's flammable and stuff. And that's the other thing. Obsidian is also one of the densest materials in the game, so it is a good building block for that reason, but it's also something you'd rather use for portals. But one of the main things with obsidian is it's just hard to work with. It's one of the hardest things to mine in survival mode, and it's you can make it with lava, but even that, then it takes technique and skill and time. Yeah, so the diorite is not as bright, but it does have like a natural stone look. I really like coal. The coal and diorite seem pretty nice together. But I think block of iron. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that may be the nicest. But iron is so expensive. Where'd my polished diorite go? Wait, isn't there? No, that's all you get. What? No, I'm thinking of the quartz. Almost forgot about quartz. So quartz has pillar, bricks. I guess I'm screwing up my recipe book by switching to creative mode. Who cares? Who cares? Bricks, quartz, chiseled, smooth. I'm gonna throw it out there. Okay. I put that one. Can I even do that? No, that's still sideways. Okay. Put it over there. So, okay. Actually, that I hadn't realized that before either. So, okay, the natural quartz is here, and it does have a nice, subtle, very subtle pattern that just kind of looks slightly marbled or washed. It reminds me of the bottom of Lake Michigan a little bit, but so then you can smooth it. Does that help a little bit? Not really. Really, black quartz smooth. Oh, okay. Really? Yep, okay. They seem backwards to me. Oh, no. Block. Is smooth quartz what's natural? Because it doesn't have the edge. This has like a subtle bevel at the edge, or a subtle frame, and they've made the top and left brighter, and the bottom and right darker than most of the pattern. So these tiled out, you're going to see the big block pattern, which is why I'm glad they named that block. Oh, and oh yeah, I'm destroying these pixels, but it's because they're fake pixels, so don't worry about it. I'm undoing my cheating as I go. Does that work? Sure. Depends on your morality. Cheating's such a stupid term for just doing stuff in Minecraft when nobody cares. So yeah, this if you built a huge wall out of this, it would look like big blocks stacked on each other. And if you built a huge wall of this, it would look smooth, which is why that's called smooth. That's called block, which is good. Is this bricks then? Yes. It's just quartz. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Quartz is big blocks. So this will give you more of a brick-like pattern if you build with that. That's an interesting masonry style too, because it's alternating adjacent runs. Anyway, your architect is showing. Then there's the pillar and the chiseled. I keep doing that. It's because I'm on the wrong tab. There we go. These are more decorative ones. Oh, I should get those side by side. Those aren't bad together. There's an aspect, the iron has less color. There's like just a slight yellow. Might call it a sepia tone or like an ivory or bone. It's just like a little browning, which I think is mainly yellow. And the iron's more achromatic. But I thought these might be interesting to build together with because okay, interesting. So these lines match up, but this is a two-tone pattern. The quartz, which just alternates 1 2 1 2 1 2, and this is a three-tone pattern. The iron that goes light, medium, dark, instead of light, dark, light, dark. It's a better parallel. Anyways, those might be interesting to build together with because you can get verticals or horizontals with the quartz pillar, and you can but yeah, these look pretty good together. They're similar in that they seem very machined, very modern, like paneling. Oh, I was gonna, yeah, the chiseled, whatever, you saw it. It's different. It's kind of interesting. Okay. Well, I think that about does it. What a weird episode. But it accomplished one of my goals, which is to hide. Why am I hiding? I'm not. This is public. I'm not hiding anything. It's my failure to become popular, which is why I say hide. But that's not my fault. I mean, there are aspects of responsibility I can take, choices I've made. I could have set different priorities and done things differently in ways that I'm pretty confident would have gotten me more numbers, more subscribers, more viewers, more. And some of that was fundamental problems with myself, like character flaws, like just not really wanting to deal with comments. I think that's a big aspect. Is I think a lot of people using YouTube were in part pursuing the parasocial. I didn't know the term at the time, but they're seeking like some idea of social interaction. What am I doing? Okay, that it is an illusion, and that's partly why I resisted it. Is that I didn't want to set a rule for myself that I was going to respond to everybody because it's very reductionist and overly simplified. Walls are pretty nice. I think I just blocked one, but I was able to swing over that. And when he tried to shoot me, I guess the high ground was part of that. If he had the high ground, it might have arced over. Anyways, yeah, numbers. I was talking about YouTube numbers, but that wasn't my focus. I could have made different choices. Oh, yeah, I said hiding. But I probably just shouldn't. Just because I'm here in obscurity doesn't mean I'm seeking it necessarily. I was for a while. I feel like I've admitted that and talked about it here on the channel. My response to the great eyeball. And of course I'm talking about Ractal Feast, not God or the viewer. In this case, just for disambiguation, I think I'm doing better with disambiguation now. I can't cook sugarcane. I'm making so much paper. I should make just a box full of paper. I don't think I have more boxes. I got plenty of wood still. Actually, I am getting low. Maybe do 2 of them, as you intended. Alright. I don't think I want the paper all the way down here, though, do I? I think I'll probably move this down. Geez, I should let y'all go. This is me starting to think about specific build stuff that probably isn't. Let's see. Now I will make more space for myself if I convert, because it's 3-to-1. Oh no, that's right. It gives you the same number of stacks. So this is not what I intended. All right, paper, 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 paper. Okay, I wanted to get rid of some stuff that I can. Hell. Then why aren't I? Why would I say that and then not follow through with it? I was organizing these by like more valuable stuff down here that I'm less likely to use right now. But I just, while I wasn't talking at some point, or maybe while I was saying something else, I don't know. I'm pretty good at multitasking, but I've learned my limits by spending a year trying to play Minecraft while talking about it and other stuff. Anyways, redstone I'm not likely to use for a while, and it's just going to be coming up from the mine. So putting that first, I think makes sense. The lapis lazuli is I'm still trying. I'll get there one day. It's this blue stuff is it's coming from below, but in smaller quantities, and I may be building an enchanting table up here at some point. Anyways, it's such a minor thing to decide around because these are right next to each other, but What's my point? Anyway. Deep Slate. That was my point. Now, I have a lot of paper. If I had cows, I could make some books. If I had books, I could make some bookcases. If I had bookcases, I could start enchanting with these 34 levels. Pretty sure I haven't died yet. Oh yeah, I made some kelp. I can eat dried kelp. Not unless I'm hungry. I can also turn dried kelp into blocks. Is it 9? Yes. I actually had forgotten about this, but wanted to look at it. It's a really weird thing to think about building with, because first of all, it doesn't make much sense. You wouldn't build a structure out of kelp, even if it was dried and packed, because it would rot quickly or attract insects and whatever. But in Minecraft, that stuff doesn't matter. Nothing's going to come by and eat your dried kelp block. But the main reason it doesn't make sense to build with, to me, is that there are other alternatives like concrete or wool. And the straps that are on this, I'm pretty sure that's what that's representing, is like this is a whole bunch of dried kelp sheets stacked up and then bound with some sort of string. Or, if it was Oriental, I might think it was like a rice paper strap or something. Modern day, it could be the plastic strapping, anyways, like you see on newspaper bundles or whatever. But yeah, the vertical lines would just be weird for. I mean, you could look at using that as an accent line, but then you'd have like a column of kelp. I'm not sure if there's other green blocks that this would really blend into well. They might make nice corners if you were making a green building. Well, now I'm curious. Let's see what's close. Nothing. Green concrete is just such a more pure. Green wool. Yeah, I would never build with shulker boxes, although it's really a good idea. It just is so hard to make them in survival mode. Terracotta might be nice. None of those are like that. Is there anything that's like that dark of a green? There's really not. Moss. Why does moss surprise me? Did I know moss was a block? I think it's new. Running my brain through it, Occam's razor, I think moss block's new. I think it's made out of the new moss that grows in caves. Yeah, maybe. Oh, I'm on search. That's silly. Okay, I wanted to place the moss. Yeah, no, I don't like that. What's the concrete powder look like? Yeah, this is so much better. This is just, it reminds me of television static or something. That it's a high contrast mix of colors. Might be interesting to build green at some point. That's not green. None of that's anywhere near as dark. So that's the new area of lack, I guess, is that there's no real. Oh, I can't even place this without sand. Now, there's certainly a way to deal with that. Oh, now it's going to be next to something. Okay. Yeah, can't do that. Yeah, even that's a lot lighter. I was thinking cacti were darker. I have this corner pretty well lit. Normally those look pretty dark, but once you get it next to the dried kelp. Yeah, when I was thinking about using this to build, the biggest problem is this vertical line. And if you just repeat this, it just ends up looking like wall paneling almost. It's interesting. That almost looks like a stretched out creeper face, like a less angry creeper face. Anyways, yeah, I was thinking the strap might be interesting just at the corner of a building, but there's nothing that even comes close to matching the color of the dried kelp. I did, yeah, I made that. Oops, I still have a cactus. Okay. Fix that. Go away, fix pixel. Survival. Okay. Okay, alright, we're back to some semblance of reality. What I apologize. I'll apologize again for the. I talked about it enough. It's not clickbait. I mean, it's not what people would expect, but it still was an underlying theme of this episode, and a strong enough theme that I've changed my mind. I don't think it counts as clickbait anymore. I feel better about the title I'm intending, and that was one other point I was going to make about Deepstate, is that I find it odd that it's so easy to work with. That Polished rate. Deep slate. Okay, I'm out of cobbled. Well, there's one easy way to deal with that. And it wastes a little bit of my axe. Oops. Doesn't matter. But picking it back up again will turn it back to cobbled. I hear an Enderman. I wish I knew how to help you guys. I don't think killing the dragon is it. I don't think it undoes whatever mistakes. Anyways, what was my point? Oh, the fact that, yeah, you can polish it with your hands. That seems strange to me. You just take like 4 of them and rub them together, and you end up with polished deep slate. It seems too easy. It seems to me like stone, you can't do that. Cobblestone. So that is one fundamental difference between the deep slate and the cobblestone, is that cobblestone you have to cook to get back to the look of natural stone, which I really like. This is a nice smooth pattern that has quite a bit of variation in it, but it just turns into a kind of a mottled gray from a distance. But the oh, that's cheater sand. That's fine. It seems to me like, and it could be another workstation, but I think just using the stone cutter is fine, because if you were to put, so first of all, a lot of this makes sense. Like you're chiseling, well, chiseling doesn't. How would you chisel with a stone cutter? It just sounds dangerous to me. If I remember my high school shop, it seems really stupid. You would use a chisel to make chiseled to deep slate, obviously. But the fact that you can, like, this makes more sense. Turning cobbled deep slate. It technically in the real world it doesn't. That you could take cobbled deep slate, like rubbing it together to make it polished big blocks of stone doesn't make sense, but using a stone cutter to pack it into a dense, polished, united block doesn't make much sense either. But most of these do. Like converting it into bricks, yeah, you'd cut it down into small bricks. Converting it into tiles, yeah, you'd cut it down into tiles. Blocks, yep, you'd cut it into blocks. Is there a blocks here? No, they just call it tiles. Tile slab. Anyways, but the fact that you can polish this, polish the cobbled stuff with a stone cutter, it doesn't make sense for the real world, but I think it makes sense in the game to have one workstation that does those things. That doesn't bother me. The chiseling and polishing with the stone cutter. But I think it seems smarter and more balanced to me than this thing, which is just, even if I'm out in the wilderness, I can take 4 cobbled deep slates, rub them together to get 4 polished ones. It doesn't make sense to me. It makes more sense that you would need to be at a workstation or the furnace. The furnace, I think, makes a lot of sense, and I don't like it because it takes it takes coal. It takes coal to convert cobblestone into stone. But it surprises me that they didn't just parallel that you would take cobbled deep slate and cook it to get polished. And the only thing I can think is that they don't perceive the value of the polished block as high. as the value of plain stone, or what some people call smooth stone. And it may just be because of that the graphic, that this is a tiled, detailed, it's going to be repeated and appear. Yeah, these have that beveled edge too, so it accentuates the matrix, the microcraft Minecraft matrix. And I like that when you want to accentuate the cubes, the grid, the matrix. But a lot of times when you're building large, you want big walls that look more continuous, and that would be more natural for certainly a lot of modern building, whether it's whether you're slapping paint on it or wallpaper, or just using concrete, or finishing the whole thing with some facade. Yeah, they must be below me here, because above is obviously water there. Oh, hey, maybe the source of the sound. I've kind of built a promontory wall up here so as not to deal with them, but their noises certainly echo through the cave well. So yeah, I'm not going to apologize for my title. I kind of already did 1.5 times, but no, I'm going to just take that back. I'm unapologizing 1.5 times. If you got tricked by my title, I hope you learned something, because I did end up talking about it, and I was sharing what I think is a different perspective than most people have on the concept of the deep state. And as I said, I do have concerns about a deep state, and where my concerns are backroom deals, secret societies, hidden agendas, stuff like that. But when part of the government activates and resists, or is activated, because I think it was triggered. Yeah, like I said, my white blood cell analogy, immune response analogy, that's a very positive form of what I think could be termed deep state. But normally when people talk about deep state, they're talking about people that are embedded with, that have nefarious secret motives. If the motive is defending the Constitution and democracy and the ability of the people to participate in decision making and stuff like that, though, that's a positive form of deep state, and that's why I bring up the white blood cell thing, because it's more of a immune response than like a self-preservation reaction, than any sort of nefarious behind the scenes. Insert catchphrase here.